Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Left Face. I am Adam Gillard, here along with my co-host and composer, Dick Wilkinson. How you doing, Dick?
I'm doing great. I really had a musical kind of feeling for that one. So
I mean, I felt the inspiration, like
yeah,
goosebumps
yeah.
over here.
I
Goosebumps.
wonder. I got to get AI to analyze those and see how similar they are.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, if we get enough samples, we could just have it sample
Yeah.
the whole thing for us. Yeah,
One episode can just be that loop for like 15 minutes after we get like a year worth of those.
It would be like a loyalty test or something,
People, when are they going to start talking? Or they'll think their podcasting is messed up.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Just keeps playing the intro.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you to Left Face. Thank you for listening to Left Face. We are the Pikes Peak region's political podcast from a veteran point of view. Today, before we get into the big stuff, we're actually recording a few hours after we've struck Iran. So we're going to get into that and talk about that a little bit. But we did here locally just get done with a pretty large candidate forum where we had everything from the federal candidates for CD5 state level positions, and then down to some local county commissioner positions, things like that. And it was a lot of people, and it was 3 hours long. It was a long thing, but we got to talk to a lot of good folks. What did you hear when you were there?
Well, I'll just make a statement on the how well organized it was. There was a lot of people, a lot of candidates. They all respected the time, and that was something I didn't normally see at political rallies. Right. Like people usually are just yap.
Yeah.
So the Indivisible folks did a great job setting everything up, and I was impressed by the turnout big time, both from the candidates and all the audience.
Yeah, the room was pretty full. We had to pull out some more chairs and things like that, and the organizers with Indivisible, there's a few of them there that are just so on the ball with everything.
So
it's funny when
applause for a really well done event.
They approached me and asked if the progressive vets wanted to help out, and I'm always about helping them. They're like, "You really don't got to do nothing." I'm like, even better.
Favorite kind of help.
Yeah. And
moral support.
Yeah, they always just knock it out of the park. So it's fun.
But topics, content wise, most people addressed the Iran situation and had an opinion about, let's not get into more wars, forever wars.
Yeah. This
is counter to the statements that, were part of the election of like, I'm a president of peace and I'm not going to start wars. So, that was a common theme. But other than that, I was really impressed by, we got some really highly qualified candidates, man.
Yeah. I talked to a few people on the way out where they were just like, man, these are some tough choices because like every race,
crowded fields with really well done campaigns and candidates.
Yeah. People who have, life experience that translates into this stuff, and folks that have legislative experience, and just incredible amount of talent up and down the ticket for us, which is what makes the caucus so important. And after the last vets lunch that we had last week, we've had all the CD5 candidates there. We've had some of the Secretary of State candidates there, and if you win the Democratic primary, you're going to be the next secretary.
On some of the state level ones, the statewide offices.
So these primaries really challenge or make the choice of who's going to be the next Secretary of State, Attorney General, things like that.
Because you just kind of bicycle coast your way in after that.
And so I tell all my vets that go to these lunches and to these meet and greets, you guys are the educated
There's
voters.
Some impacts right here.
Yeah, you are the most educated voters in this area now. Get out the caucus and actually make an impact with this information.
Sure.
Just don't sit back and wait for your ballot to come to you. Get who you want on the ballot. So like you can have an impact. You can have an impact at such the beginning level of the entire process. So I'm happy it's over in a week.
I got to go and I was in a shop after the event was over, and the guy was like, "Hey, what have you been doing today?" And I said, "I just came from this thing," and I got to educate him on this is how these people get picked. And he said, "Wow, that's fascinating. I've never heard that." And I said, "Yeah, most people don't know about it."
No, even me, I have a political science degree. Like I know these processes and things. I did not understand the scope of it while I was in the military until I came out and I actually started getting into the process. And you talk about precinct organizers and things like that. Those are the folks that are here because they love democracy.
Yeah,
They
for
know,
sure.
they know what they're here for, and it's just inspirational to be around these folks.
So I was impressed, and there was definitely a lot of interest in veterans and veteran families because of where we're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was brought up by a lot of candidates at all different levels, which was also good to hear that we're on top of mind for these folks and that they want to and look at policy and try to support us. So I heard that as a common thread as well.
Yeah.
So again, happy to hear that, right? From really top qualified candidates saying I'm gonna work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
The only drama I saw at this event was, with some of these races being so highly, having such good candidates,
Mm-hmm.
folks can read the writing on the wall, and some folks are getting a little chippy.
Okay.
And it's just interesting to me that they'd rather light their path by burning bridges than try to be effective and just like see the writing on the wall and try to be a part of the solution. But like people's egos
It's
really,
politics, homie.
I don't know. Yeah. It's just a fascinating
There's no
thing to
such
me.
thing as second place in a campaign, man.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
second place is just burnt money and like some experience, I guess, but
yeah, but when
doesn't
it's
count.
there, you can either let your ego captain that ship to the very bitter end where you're just burning money, or you can, pull out and say, I can work with this person and start trying to help that person and still get your ideas at the table.
Sure.
Like if you just go
Like
down,
RFK, man.
yeah, right, yeah. That's a horrific example, but it's a great one. Like
For all the listeners out there.
yeah. You can't make a difference if like you get tossed to the side and like nobody wants to work with you because
If you're spitting on people.
you're lashing
if you're
out.
getting up on stage and going,
Yeah.
it's not a great look.
No, so yeah,
It's not a great look. If especially politics, man. People always tell us what Abraham Lincoln lost so many elections, right? Like 5 times, right? He was losing all over the place. Like, don't give up, right? Your ideas will make sense and people will listen, and don't give up. So if you're a first time candidate and you start getting that type of mode, you're not setting yourself up for success. Like you're gonna have to come back in 2 years and try again,
right?
And that's not bad, right? Like
Yeah.
that's fine. That everybody does that,
Exactly.
So set your stakes in the ground and just work up from there. And don't like you say, don't burn bridges to make your name or to try and settle any scores with anybody. Like there's no point, right?
Yeah, it's not,
because if they don't
effective.
win, you may have the same situation in the future where they're like, I'm not going to run this time, but I'd like to support you. You want that, right? You want as many people to be on your side. And if 4 years from now, you're trying for a different seat, you want to call those people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good day overall. Had again, great turnout. So really excited to get through the caucus process next week and
that's when it is. And that's in Pueblo?
No. So next week is here locally. Like it's still your local ones where you decide your delegates. And then there's a county assembly the next week. And then there's the state assembly at the end of the month, the 28th.
And that's where?
Down in Pueblo.
Okay, that's the one. I'm trying to focus on attending that one for the CDVC.
Yeah. And I'll probably be down there. And actually, side note, that's also the next No Kings rally, and that'll be downtown at City Hall, up and down Nevada too, for everybody that's listening.
When is that?
March 28th.
Okay.
Yeah, so the same day as the state assembly.
Okay.
But yeah, so. Anyways,
all right. Well, now we're shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah. We got things on the horizon.
Lots of local stuff though. That's good. It's exciting.
Yeah. People are excited. They're coming
involved.
out. Yep.
So
yep.
I agree, and I'm excited to watch it and like do the veteran piece of talking to all these folks.
So, it's fun, and like you said, they're all excited to talk to us. But next thing we wanted to
talking about veterans, talking about military people. Yeah.
You are a retired warrant officer.
I am. Yes.
I Air Force never had it. Like I always thought it was a great idea.
They have them for cyber now.
They just started it. Yeah, because
last year.
Yeah, like people would be getting handed $90,000 jobs with a little bit of tech school training. Mm-hmm. They're not going to stick around. They're not going to re-enlist.
It's a hard.
It's a hard sell. So I've always thought they should do it, and they fought it for so long. Great that they're doing it. We had a bit of history this week in the warrant officer program. The highest ranking warrant of CW5 got the Medal of Honor awarded to him.
Yes.
So from what you told me, pilot flew down, took some anti-aircraft rounds in his legs, still finished the mission, got folks out, and completed the mission, earned the Medal of Honor.
Yes.
The that happened this week. What are your thoughts on the chief warrant officer here getting his Medal of Honor?
Well, I'm obviously like very happy and proud of that. You know, the warrant officer corps, people don't understand what we do or who, you know, what the mission and role that we play in the military most of the time. So it's good to get that just a spotlight on what that is. That's always a good thing for us because we're called the quiet professionals, though. That's like the warrant officer motto.
Okay.
Meaning, you're never the commander, right? You work for the commander. You need to influence, but you can't just tell people what to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so this guy's, like you say, CW5, he's been a pilot throughout his whole career. As I was mentioning to Adam, to make CW5 as a pilot, it takes about 25 years as in your warrant officer time. So he's got 25 to 30 years of service, most likely.
Yeah.
Which I hope medically, I hope he's doing okay. He was there. He was standing up, I don't know if he walked in or if he was wheeled in because this was not that long ago.
Right.
And so that's really the part of the story that we had talked about earlier in the week. And there's some news stories out there about it. Usually a Medal of Honor award takes a year is like moving fast, right? And because they get witness statements of people that were involved in the mission with you as part of the citation. And there's just many layers of bureaucracy. It has to be, recommended by a general officer that's in your chain of command. So there's a lot of hoops, right? Yeah. And then it's got to get all sorts of other reviews and approvals. Well, if the president wants you to get it, then a lot of that stuff moves like grease lightning, right? Yeah. So between the SecDef and the president saying this dude deserves this award, and the word is that came from his division commander. Trump went down and talked to the commanders after the whole mission had been over. And when he went to see them, he said, who's the superstar basically, and what do you want to tell me about the mission? And so the general said, this guy did something amazing and I want you to take care of him. And that's, Trump was like, Medal of Honor, got it. So as far as I know, it was his idea.
Okay.
So great, good story all around. But it's sad that, he took 4 rounds of anti-aircraft lead into his leg, man.
Yeah.
Like,
that's gonna stick with you.
Yeah. But yeah, he dropped that was on the way in and he was dropping off the Delta Force, right? And so he had to get in there, drop the tail of the helicopter and let these guys get out. And he's got a damaged aircraft and he's bleeding, and then he got them out and flew out and didn't crash. Yeah. That's the big thing is like he didn't crash.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. The time frames here in the time frame
fastest ever by orders of magnitude.
What blows my mind is like the citation is going to look just fine. Yeah. And I spent months, years on some citations trying to get things through just because
for a mid-level.
For like a meritorious service. So, and people are happy and glad and stuff. It's just to bog down the system. But
that's a whole. We could spend an episode on the award system in the military, man. Yeah. What a weird thing. Well, I was always baffled by it. Let's not digress completely, but I just never.
Here's an interesting one that'll kind of transfer us over too. Napoleon said like, you give me a few yards of ribbon, and I can take over the world. Yeah, because you recognize people and you give them that ribbon, and they'll do stuff for you. Yeah. And it's crazy
because allegiance, right?
Yeah. And brotherhood, and like you have it on your chest, I got it on my chest. It's I knew somebody that was deployed to Jordan last year, and during the 12-day war, and after the 12-day war, where Israel wiped out their air defenses, and then we came in and supposedly destroyed these nuclear factories, but afterwards they all got a ribbon for that. For that campaign, there's a 12-day war campaign ribbon.
Interesting.
And he was super proud. I kind of shit on him a little bit for him. I mean, he didn't do anything, but
I got a NATO medal that was for Libya, and I had showed up to the unit like 45 days before the campaign ended. Now I did drop into the shop and saw stuff and, was working there, but it was done by the time I showed up. But it didn't matter. It was what days were you in the unit because it was a unit award. And the cool thing about that one is it had a device on it. This NATO award had a device on it. I have 2 NATO awards. and one of them doesn't have a device, but this one does. It's a silver shield that says Libya in French, Libye.
Okay.
But you're not allowed to wear the device in uniform. You can display it with the device,
Interesting.
but it's not authorized for wear.
Huh. Wild.
Yeah, that's cool though.
So that being the tie into the next topic here, us bombing Iran,
There's a new campaign medal.
our president, a new campaign medal coming down the pipeline here. Our president of peace has told the American people that American service members will probably die, and it's for the better good.
That last night.
And this is again, Bone Spurs, draft dodger, like never served a day in that. His family has never served a day in his life, like in their whole lineage.
Sure.
Like there's no General Trumps out there.
Sure.
Even saying that made me get ick. But
he might be General Trump, in a few years if that's how the whole
Barron
stay
will be
in
one
office thing or something.
Yeah, that's how he's gonna do it. He has asked for a uniform, I've heard. But so we started another war, and this time it's been more effective than the 12-day war, because we have decapitated the head of the Iran regime. The Ayatollah has been declared dead.
Yeah.
From a few different sources. The first few that came out were Israeli sources, so I waited.
It was like, we did it.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
Then I saw some sources coming out of Iran that confirmed it.
Most news outlets have leaned into it as truth now too.
So this is the Iran's second Ayatollah, first one in 79, passed in 89, and so he's been in charge since 89.
Yeah, he's 81 years old.
So what is on the horizon for them, and what have you seen happen in response? Because Iran's proxies know what's happened and they're responding.
Yeah, and it's not the proxies right now that are doing much lead slinging. It's coming straight out of Iran proper, where they have forces close to border areas so that they can get mid-range missiles over into other Arab countries. So this morning, man, once we and Israel attacked, we went after military sites. Israel went after the leadership. They're the ones that actually launched the missiles at the Ayatollah's compound.
Yeah,
and because they
targeted the president too. I haven't heard on the president.
Yeah, they have the, we'll say, political interest of regime change more than we do, I guess you could say, right? It's an existential threat in their mind, right? And so that's why they took the advantage to do that. But apparently we hit quite a few places, right? Like it wasn't a little peppering, right? No, like there was I don't know how many rounds or what all went in, but I saw some map and it was like 10 places plus, something like that.
Yep. Yeah. And there's already reports of like schools, boarding schools. Like there was a girls' boarding school that was hit with first reports coming out that
in Iran.
That 40 were dead.
And I mean, I know Iran was has some still rudimentary anti-aircraft and missile defense type stuff. So there's also, but they don't get them up at high altitude. Yeah. So they have a lot more collateral damage when they do intercept a missile because they're getting it down at like a couple thousand feet because they're doing it more with like our anti-aircraft artillery type stuff. So they just got to strafe it and then it's like right there on top of people. Yeah. So that's just the state of play for them right now. So, so anyways, the missiles are coming out of Iran. They hit Bahrain. They hit Dubai. They hit civilian targets and military targets in both places.
They threw them at Qatar. Qatar caught them all though.
Okay.
Yeah. But so that they
Jordan shot some down that were in transit in certain places as well. Israel's been lighting up their Iron Dome like all day. Yeah. Iran's been blowing at Tel Aviv nonstop, but they don't have as many, they shot a bunch of missiles already, right? They've shot hundreds and hundreds of them, in different times over the last year or two. They haven't had enough time to build more. So there's definitely a supply issue.
Right? And the last time Iran launched missiles at them, they landed some right in where Israel keeps their nuclear weapons.
Oh, sure.
So like
that's what exposed the fact that, it became more public that they even have them because people were like, why were you shooting at that?
Yeah. Right. And
what's that? Yeah.
I've been there and like, I've looked out at the desert and like Like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the stuff out there.
Talking about like the Golan Heights or whatever, like
No,
that area.
so it's in the middle of like the desert.
Okay.
Like we were out there for like a C-130 mission,
Mm-hmm.
and I was standing out and I was looking, and there was like a black Zeppelin off in the
Mm-hmm.
in the distance, and the mission planner came out. I was like, "Hey, what the hell's that?" He's like, "Oh, that's where their nukes are, and if we fly near there, they kick us out of the country."
Yeah.
And so like, and as soon as he said it, he's like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have said that." Yeah, you shouldn't have, buddy. but
Yeah.
So I went back and looked at the maps though, and like from where I was standing, I went back out. I was like, "Oh, that's it right there."
Mm-hmm.
It's clear where it is.
Sure.
Like once you know where you're looking, and then yeah, you see where those other Iranian missiles dropped. It's like, oh yeah, that was right in their backyard.
Yeah.
And like, it's not going to create a nuclear blast, but it's one hell of a dirty bomb.
Yeah, it's a mess for sure.
So
and
there's
I think let's talk about what's going to happen now. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how much Iran has to keep shooting as far as ballistic missiles and this kind of stuff. So I do think that we'll see a shift to, if there's any intention to maintain their state and their regime, that every regional body that they have between Hezbollah and Hamas or anywhere else will get, told to get to work. But they're all in terrible shambles of, state right now. But it's one of those, this is the last, punch with everything you've got, because they think they're going down. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that we may see that over the next few days. Do I think this is going to be a prolonged situation? I don't, right? I really don't think it's going to last more than a few days or a couple of weeks at the most.
Well, and the plan isn't to like, I think, put really boots on ground
invasion,
there. And like try to like rebuild it ourselves. Like
correct.
Trump made it sound like we're just going to level you guys and you guys build yourselves back up.
And he told the people,
try again.
He said, go back to the streets, right? Like, overthrow the government and just go take over, because we're gonna kill them, and you guys have to fill the void.
Yeah.
Now, what does the American people think fills the void? What does the American intelligence community think fills the void? What does the State Department think? Like, those are all different answers, right? Right. What do the college professors and pundits think? They're all different answers, right? And I'm sure that there are people that have spent their entire life, have doctorate degrees on studying just the regime, right? Like, I know they exist, right? Yeah. I hope that they've been talking to them so that there's some understanding that if you don't go in, if you don't rig the system, if you really just think that an uprising is going to fill the void and there's going to be some, form of parliament or democratic response from that seems outrageous to me.
This is how we get warlords.
What do we hope? Yeah, that's what I think. This is a Syria situation again,
exactly,
right? Where that guy went from being an ISIS commander to being the president of Syria, because he had the biggest warlord faction, right? And now he's being received as a legitimate dude, right? So whatever, that's not our decision to make, but it's one of those situations, right? So, and then there's also the concern of just like when Iraq lost its, when there's power vacuums there, ISIS and Al Qaeda and, any random faction that thought they had a chance to come and raise money or recruit terrorists or whatever, they showed up. Yeah. And so why would that not happen here?
And, and none of these groups and factions ever think, well, thank you to the USA.
No,
they're all, death to America.
Yes.
And like it's taught to them very early, and they have TV shows about it and things like that. Mm-hmm. So us going there and kind of proving
leaflets ain't going to get it.
Right. Well, I mean, we just kind of prove their point by just decimating them and leveling them.
Yeah, that's true. It's cannon fodder for the recruitment.
Yeah. So like now, we've created all these new, terrorist power struggles.
Yeah.
And whoever comes up is probably gonna be the one who screams at us the loudest.
Yeah, that's possible. And that's like 3 or 4 steps away as far as the onion unfolds, right? Like right now we have to see if the regime if someone else can maintain power. Because we were talking earlier that it is a theocracy with a hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
And so there's the supreme leader, but then there are he has a faction of lieutenants that are all high senior priests type guys, right? And they all just look the same, they wear basically the same clothes with beard and everything. And so when you see them together, it's like, obviously there are other people that could do this job, right?
Yeah.
So, and they believe that there would be some holy intercession to choose the next guy that's
Well,
in charge,
and
right?
he's been there for so long, already in his 80s. You think
Somebody
it would
was
be a conversation point,
yeah, within the last few years, especially because we've tried to kill him a million times.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So there's got to be a chart somewhere that says these are the people that are going to step up.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see where they actually got him at, because I heard he was taken out and put into some bunkers a while ago. So it'd be interesting to see where they actually got him
Well,
to.
we know like Israel is on point with intel, right?
Yeah.
So they know they almost certainly usually had really good understanding of where he was at, even in safe harbor type situations. There, they know where those places are at. So, so I think there's going to be a power vacuum. I wouldn't say it's 50-50 that the regime is going to last. I really don't even know. Like, I would have a hard time giving a scale tipping point there. I have no idea.
I've heard, the former Shah's son being interested, or like he has a plan for it and things like that.
Oh yeah,
He's
that
got
was
a
few months ago.
Yeah, he's got a decent website, so he probably has a good following. But I've heard the Kurds are trying to get a bigger role in the government over there too. So it's just an absolute mess that it's going to be. And what are we going to get out of this? Like, why are we there doing this?
Right. Okay. Real. So here we go. Here's where Dick gets to be gets to be Dick for a minute. I am going to just reveal my personal gumption here that not so much the Ayatollah as a person, but the regime overall in Iran. I have just, ever since Obama's deal with them, I was like, oh no, like the relationship has just turned in the totally wrong direction. And I'm thankful that there's a possibility for regime change. Every time that we thought it's been close and then it didn't happen, Arab Spring situations, those kind of situations, I was like, come on, because they are the most destabilizing thing in about a third of the world almost. They really are, right? Like they cause so many problems. Straits of Hormuz being in danger at all times, like getting that stuff put away and not having to put as many resources and trouble into maintaining those open waterways and those high level of personnel in the region, right? Like maybe we get to reduce our footprint a few years from now if we can really get this thing worked out, right? So am I happy that we're starting a war? Is it really going to be a long-term war? I don't think so. If regime change happens, to me, that is a net win, and it's pretty easy to see that it wouldn't take very many years before there's just a whole different situation over there. So that's my take on it anyway.
Does it concern you that like the timing of it, where the people are not going out and doing things right now? Like it's been kind of calmed down. It kind of goes up in flares and stuff like that. But does the timing seem odd to you that they would do it when I don't know if they were ready for it, or if they were, because they just got slaughtered themselves. So,
hey, I got a little story for you that I heard on the television or something this morning. The Jewish calendar, there is a specific celebration of an ancient situation where Esther repelled a Persian invasion.
Okay.
And that's today or yesterday or tomorrow, something like that. This is the weekend where they celebrate that.
Okay.
And so if Israel had a vote, right, and they were like, are you guys ready? Like they're not gonna come to the table. They're not gonna do what you're asking them to do, right? Like if you President Trump, if you want to do it, this would be a great weekend. That's a legitimate, I heard it on the news this morning, so it's a fact, right? But we struck people on Christmas Day, Trump is kind of down for that kind of stuff. The symbolism, right? He likes that. He likes symbolism. He feels that poetic note to things is like makes it more important. Right?
It's the show,
which is why I would hate saying that. It sounds gross, but
but he's a reality show person. He cares about primetime ratings.
He's a producer. For
sure. So as long as he's getting the primetime ratings, he doesn't care about what norms he upsets. With striking Iran, I just see it as more distractions from things going on here. you know, the more and more that we
Yeah.
dive into the Epstein files and the ties that, you know, this billionaire financier had with foreign governments, you know, specifically
It's
Israel and
just getting
Mossad and things like
crazy,
that.
man.
It's insane. And now, you know, these two countries are like, okay, we're going to go do something look over here. I just think everything right now is just a distraction from us having a pedophile in the presidency.
You do think that, Adam. You do. You
100%.
bring that up in
A
each
lot.
episode, which I'm not bothered by. I'm not bothered by that. That's fine. That's why we do the show. Yeah, I heard other people say that too. I saw, other people talking about
Yeah,
that, and
and again, this is a
yeah,
president that's never served. Just more fortunate sons, you know, sending us, you know, lowly folks off to die for him while they sit on the beach and ride in their yachts and
that new Gaza resort.
yeah,
Yeah,
build their Gaza resorts, and it's all on the blood and the backs of folks like us.
yeah,
You know,
that's
and
true.
and again, all just to hide other criminal activities that like they pulled files out of it like that was proven where, you know, it was a complaint that the FBI followed up on
Hmm.
4 times,
Hmm.
and only one of them was found because Trump's name wasn't mentioned in that one complaint,
Okay.
but the other three from that same witness
Yeah, have
got
not been
got
released.
pulled.
Yeah,
Yeah, when it just disappeared.
yeah.
Just disappeared. Like, because the files that they release, like, oh, so all the Epstein files are numbered, right?
Okay.
Like there's a logical sorting and like
Okay.
data management.
Cataloged.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they released all these files, and you look at them, and you can see like files
Skips
missing.
in the page numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, again, this is not an intelligent administration. They just react on things, and like they don't actually think things
Hmm.
through. So like these are like obvious things that investigative journalists, like real journalists, have found that we just we're just accepting it
I
as an
will,
action
on this
nation.
topic, I will mention that I keep seeing more and more different people that are Republicans that say we passed a law to get all of the files
Yeah,
out, not some of the
right.
files out. And this is Republicans saying this
Yeah,
without being goaded or,
yeah,
prompted. They say, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, I think it's messed up,
yeah,
and wow. Wow. I
yeah.
guess they're not up for reelection next year, right? Because
Probably
he's
not. Yeah.
throwing primary heat on everybody,
Well,
right?
so another thing that you hear with this Iran thing is federalizing the elections. You know, he has a EO that's going around that's, you know,
Yes.
wrote
In
up,
certain areas was sometimes mentioned,
right, which means blue states.
what?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Like,
like
talk about if you, man,
it'll be like that. That is the death of our
this,
republic.
if you want to be the most blatant about like we're breaking the election system,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. We want the blue
That's it.
states to fall under me.
Yeah.
And look,
That's insane.
I did win. Amazing.
It's
They were cheating.
That's insane, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's just
Like,
crazy,
and
right?
the fact that anybody,
Federalize elections, right? Like, no, that is one of the most important barriers of democracy and operation that we have.
yeah, the
Is
entire
that
federal
every
republic.
state and secretary
Yeah.
of state has to execute their own election, right?
Yeah.
So that those are not interfered with because we're voting for people that have a personal interest, not even just Donald Trump, right? Like anybody that's up at that federal Senate or presidential or whatever level,
Yeah.
they have a vested interest in staying in power.
Yeah.
And so having another layer of, well, I don't want to say bureaucracy, but democracy, right? Having that layer where it is a great safeguard, and it needs to be maintained, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way that you can do that, right? Unless I'll say, I'm not saying this is a good idea, but if you're going to federalize, it had to be everywhere. You can't, it'd have to be every single place, even Virgin Islands and District of Columbia and all the territories and Guam. That would all have to be federalized, right? You can't pick and choose. You can't cover the checkerboard of the states or counties and start.
But
No
even
way.
then, if you're going to do
insane.
anything, trying to do that on an EO just seems kind of crazy too. But you're not going to change the Constitution.
That feels like
a foundational constitutional thing that you're going to change with
that's
an
what
EO.
I'm saying. Yeah, that's way out of scope for an executive order.
Yeah,
that's absolutely an act of Congress if it's not a full constitutional amendment. Right, like there would have to be congressional committees that have to determine how that would happen. Right,
and states would have to give up that right.
Yeah, how would you? Yeah, exactly. That's the other piece of it too, right? Is like that is enshrined right now, right? And so, how would you convince the governors and secretaries of state and attorney general, all those three people in any given state where they got colored the wrong color on the map? they got to get hot,
right.
like go to the Supreme Court now,
like
drive up there and take the package of papers with you, hand carry it.
Yeah, we have these No Kings rallies for a reason. This is he's marching us towards a monarchy, or some sort of Kim Jong Un's legacy type thing,
type situation.
Yeah. He's not going to leave. The speaker, he's even said, if they lose the midterms, it's the end of the Trump presidency. Some folks want to not impeach him until the end, or some people want to impeach him immediately. But if they do, Democrats do get the House, essentially they can deflect a lot of the stuff, and hopefully come to a grinding halt.
Yeah,
but we also don't have a whole lot of faith in our Democratic leadership either. So.
I mean, if they have the majority, then there's something that's going to happen there. But
well, I hope they vote better people into the.
Well, it's already there's a guy that's in trouble for having an affair. And then the woman that he was having an affair with killed herself.
That's a Republican guy.
Yeah, I'm saying he's in Congress, right?
Yeah.
And Mike Johnson was like, I'm not going to fire him, because that would take it down to one vote.
Yeah, somebody gets sniffles.
If there'd be a special election right away, right?
Yeah.
And if somebody's not present, that's it. There's a 50-50 setup in the House.
Yep.
That's Mike Johnson's nightmare. You know what I'm saying? He needs the sliver that he's got.
Yeah.
So
they're going to hold on to this guy who I mean, and you look at his record too. He kind of failed the kids at Uvalde. Also, so
that's where he's from.
Okay. So he has some history in the national spotlight too of not being good. And then this where he has an affair with a staffer and she kills herself, and he has like 6 kids at home too. That's good enough.
But Mike Johnson was like, like ethics something. Let's talk about something else,
So. Yeah, and the way that the bar changes when like how Al Franken, he
got burned at the stake for just a weird picture.
So there's some pictures, inappropriate.
I'm not saying I'm not exonerating him.
No, but even the person that was in the picture was like, no, he was goofing off and things like that, or it was stupid, but like it wasn't like end the senator's career stupid when you look at what we're looking at now.
Yeah, right. It was before grab him by the marginality.
Exactly.
Before that, so
he was ahead of his time.
This will be funny someday. Speaking of this will be funny someday, maybe we'll end the episode on a really light and hilarious note. I was watching South Park last night, and so big up props to our South Park homies here in Colorado, right? This episode is not super old, but it's not from this season, right?
Okay.
So it's before this administration took over. It's in the last 2 or 3 seasons. It was about gluten and the food pyramid, and like everything was, people were dying because they were eating too much gluten, and they had like quarantined people because they didn't know if they'd eaten gluten, if it was going to like infect other people. It was insane. But Cartman starts having basically like withdrawals because he doesn't have enough snack foods, and he goes into some trance-like state, and he sees Aunt Jemima in his psychedelic dream, and she tells him, tell the USDA to look at the pyramids. The pyramids is upside down. And so he doesn't know what it means, but he calls the USDA, and they flip the food pyramid upside down so that steak and butter are at the top of the food pyramid, and grains and dairy are at the bottom of the food pyramid, and is literally what is happening right now, but in the real world, right? But it was meant to be a total joke, right? It was like, look at how goofy this would be, right? Like, and that was years ago, right? So they nailed it. It happened in the real world.
That plan was released when RFK was shirtless with Kid Rock. They released that new plan.
It's crazy. It was so funny.
I'm telling you, Terrence McKinnon was right. Things are gonna get weird because UFOs are on the table now too.
Oh, that was a distraction super move right there.
He's releasing all UFOs.
And that plays to a certain audience of people who are actually out there trying to get conspiracy theories spun up. And so if that's some great feint, right? A great like watch this, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, I mean, that's already happened a few times over the last few years, right? Like where the federal government's like, check it out, maybe UFOs are real. Like that's happened like 3 times in the last 5 years.
Even when Trump was elected, he was going to go look at the New Jersey drones situation, and then like he got elected, and he's like, yeah, they're cool. That's what he said. He's like, yeah, that are fine.
Yeah, I heard anybody.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, cool. Thanks for that one.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
That's a fun note. If anybody, go watch the food pyramid episode. I think it's called Gluten-Free Ebola is the name of the.
So, yeah, I mean, there's that long-running thing about The Simpsons predicting the future.
Yes.
Now it's going to be South Park predicting
South Park's getting it done pretty well right now, too. Yeah. So, and it's meant to be an absurd joke, and then it's real.
Yeah.
Whoops. But that's what makes things funny is that you can believe it to actually happen, right? Like that's part of the way humor works, right?
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, this is another episode of Left Face. I'm Adam Gillard here with Dick Wilkinson. Thanks for listening.